any missile turrets at all. In fact, he didn't. So he was able to cut those kind of corners because he knew there's something too basey coming out of this Protoss. It's too late for an Oracle. I open up with enough Marines at each mineral line, so I'm not going to have to add those extra costs.
Yeah, and to your point, this map, much easier for Son to get a third, but will this guy let him? TaeJa currently up 1-0. He's done pretty well for himself in DreamHacks this year, TaeJa. And I'm really excited to see how far he's going to be able to make it in here. If these players can get through to the first place in their group, they have a much easier path ahead of them. But yeah, he's in the bottom right. He is Liquid TaeJa.
And his opponents needing to run things back. Both these players won their first match, but now doing battle with each other. It is the Protoss player from Yowie Flash Wolves, San. And Thanius pointing out, he pointed, that's the nice thing about live casting together, is he just pointed at my little monitor and said, hey guys, it turns out that was an 11 gate.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And if I know my StarCraft fans, I know Rotterdam's watching this. He's got a good feeling in him. His go-to PVT build, man. The 11 supply gateway gives you just a quick enough cybernetics core that getting your tech up isn't too tricky. And this can go for very fast Zealot Stalker Mothership core pressure, but it also opens the door for very fast Stargate play if you want to get your tech up fast for that point, because he does have the second gas coming in as well.
Yeah, but it's heading over here, and the kind of the trick for Protoss right now at this top tier is finding the appropriate place to hide things, because Terrans they're getting proxy oracled all day long.
Yeah.
And they know about it, and that's about as brazen as it gets. In fact, I'm now not feeling so confident that this is a Stargate. This might be a Robo, bro.
Yeah, this is too forward for
Robo,
Stargate.
bro. It could be.
Man, the proxy Robo builds, these things are always really weird.
Oh, Nathanius, I just absolutely fell in love with this. Let's make sure, god dang it.
Talk to me.
Okay, well, I'm gonna do it anyways, because we got a little bit of time. I would have liked the Robo here, because here's the thing, TaeJa's in the base, 3 probes on gas, just 1 pylon. Okay, you're proxy Oracle.
Stargate, yeah, and then you build an
then
engineering
you show
bay
up with
and a
the
missile
Robo.
turret. Yeah,
dude.
I don't want to. I've lost more than my fair share of games. I'm like, yeah, I got my missile turret. Everything's cool. Oracle should come in now, and then 2 Immortals come my bunker, and I'm dead. That's actually a really good point.
I've seen that from him.
Well, it is a Stargate, and TaeJa is very smartly thinking, I should probably build missile turrets in case it's a proxy Stargate. So, yeah, you're like two steps ahead of both of these guys here.
I know. You and I are both. We're so much smarter than these guys. Gosh. Look at this probe. He's like, no, don't come over here. Attack me. Reaper, come on over here. Nope. It's going to the main. Or not in the main, excuse me, but it's going to see the tech, of course. But
so he knows now, and the thing is, this Stargate isn't really positioned like far enough away from his base that he can really defend it too well once units get on the map for TaeJa, especially since he has a missile turret halfway done. So the Oracle's going to pop out. They might not even go straight to the mineral line if it goes for either of these units. Okay, so it's just going to run in. But building a second one as the Stalker shows up, and there's a bunker and a missile turret? Like, no. He's just
safe.
He's like, no.
He double wrapped that base. This is as safe as it gets, and the command center critically does finish.
He even loads the SCV inside the command center. He's like, no one's going to die today.
Right now, it's at 0 damage, bro. And I'll tell you what, if he gets the SCV making that orbital, or command center, excuse me, before it finishes, that's actually mission accomplished.
That would be a big deal, yes.
Lots of damage. Now, the biggest deal here, as before, we can see it is going to be a Cloud Council.
Still on 1 base, mind you.
But the biggest deal is that right now, TaeJa doesn't know that, and heroically, TaeJa has a Reaper out on the map. Once he finds this out, he'll have a chance. If he doesn't know about that and just kind of macros as usual, it can be big trouble.
I'm just thinking back to that Foxtrot game between San and Jokji, and like, this map is way too wide as far as getting out of your main base goes to contain TaeJa forever. And TaeJa comes in, most importantly sees that there's no natural. I think he might have glimpsed those gateways building as well.
Saw 1.
Yeah.
Saw 1. That's a big deal. Even just the 1 extra one, he goes, okay,
so he's just going to try to contain him with Blink, and this is... Well, this is pretty wild. These Marines moving down, actually, taking health off of the Stalker. Every hit point's a pretty big deal at this point, because he's going to be... He really can't afford to lose much. TaeJa's going to be able to trade more cost effectively with the bunkers. He has the orbital ready to expand. And look at this, Widow Mines being built. You don't want to spend your Oracle energy revealing Widow Mines. You want to spend it killing your opponent.
Yeah, it's interesting. We saw something like this from, I believe it was First versus TaeJa at BlizzCon, and it just didn't end up making for a super interesting game because TaeJa was so patient and rock solid about defending this. It's when the Terrans kind of get over eager and get out a little bit too soon before Stim finishes, before they have a good number of units, and all of a sudden they get aggressively blinked on or force field, as we can see here being set up, and then they're in a lot of trouble. But TaeJa's very patient about it. That being said, though, kind of something you pointed out earlier, Nathaniel, is one of the poisons of this opening for the Protoss player is they kind of want you to be patient. Yeah, go ahead and build that third bunker, build that 5 or 6 Widow Mines, build a tank. I'm actually expanding behind this.
Yeah, so this is where he's going to try to get his edge. The Oracles are still coming in and trying to deal a little bit of damage here and there, but now the Medevac's out, so you can try to put some pressure. I'm wondering, is he just going to put his Widow Mine in there?
Yeah, scan on the main.
That pressure come in, so there's the scan. But he doesn't know about the expansion just yet. So TaeJa playing it safe makes a lot of sense. However, to your point, he is going to want to move that command center over as soon as he realizes that San's not sitting on one base this game.
And notice this too, the stalker count is actually really low. There's no timing attack here, it's just 4. They're not even, they don't even actually have the ability to keep TaeJa at home. He's basically relying on TaeJa's fear of Protoss. He's like, yo, there could be 25 Stalkers out here. You've played against MC. You know this is capable of happening.
Even losing that Scout Stalker in the natural was, does hurt a little bit, as San is looking to just power out probes, power up his tech as much as he possibly can. TaeJa, how many tanks has he built, actually? He's moving up now to building just a second one. You really don't want to commit too heavily on these, because even against normal Protoss units, like, they're kind of terrible, so I really feel like it's more prudent for him to get his stim up. Okay, now it's coming in, and it's a very late stim relative to when the robotics facility and Forge are going up.
We're seeing kind of the lasting effects of these openings, but bear in mind, TaeJa is up almost 20 supply. He has had that orbital, as you pointed out, Nathaniel, earlier on, for the length of the game, essentially. So he's been making additional SCVs, he's been dropping extra mules. His economy has been fairly robust, and the 2 Oracles, they've been ducking and diving and trying to do what damage they can, but really it's been like 2 or 3 Marines and maybe an SCV or 2, like almost nothing for the cost of 2 Oracles. And as you pointed out, that Stargate's as good as dead, so there'll be no continuation there. So San, I do have to say, cool opening. You're still behind. We need to see if he can do something even cooler to get back into this, I feel.
Yeah, it says a lot when TaeJa has 2 bunkers in his main base. He's throwing up that third one in the front, and he hasn't actually gone and killed that Stargate, because he seems to be just a little bit, you know, I wouldn't say overly cautious, because the Stargate's not going to be the playmaker in this game, but he recognizes that there's a chance something might be waiting for him out there. And even these little Marines that he's dropped out of his base just to go scout around are his way of saying, yeah, I'm a little bit concerned. I want to know 100% what you're doing before I commit to anything. And the setup right now, the +1 armor, does make it seem like San is keeping his options open for taking that third base, because it's much easier on this map than merry-go-round, but he could just as easily as also just set himself up for another 2-base push.
Yeah, you know, Nathaniel, I want to talk about that real quick too, because you have to be cautious against this. There are so many all-ins that come up off of an opening like that where they really want to really capitalize on a Terran just trying to take that base again. And TaeJa has been careful, but I almost want to do, I want to assume TaeJa's actually so in tune with what happens as a follow-up from that, that he just kind of knew that, yes, you do need to throw out Marines, like you said, picking up and dropping them on the low ground. Yes, there was a scan on the main. Like, there are due diligence that has to be done. He has also built bunkers, but at the same time, he's been rocking a solid 25+ supply advantage while not doing any damage at all. He did not drop Widow Mines. He did not counterattack in any way, shape, or form. He's just off the opening and his rock-solid defense been ahead.
Yeah, he gets a nice scout. His little hero scout managed to run in and spot the extra gateways going up, but you know, these Oracles are also going to be really annoying, delaying the third command center, delaying some additional
Seeing
production.
the third's nice too. That's cool.
Yeah, that's really nice, because it can kind of erase the fear of an SCV type push coming anytime soon. +2 armor starts up for San, so he's definitely thinking about a little bit of a later stage in this game.
Here's why I like tanks on this map, Nathaniel. So you're talking about, you know, not wanting too many of them, and I certainly agree with you. But on this map, you can backdoor it a little bit. Those tanks on the low ground behind the rocks.
He's making them useful, and that's a really cool way to be able to use the map.
He's making them useful. You missed that opportunity. You got to get on my level, Brock.
Well played. So he's gonna bust down these rocks, and then the tanks are still pretty bad in like head-on fights. But he's zoning away units is also nice. He can work on this photon cannon too. It's definitely not cheap. Does he have any Vikings with this? It'd be really bold of him to just stim up.
He's gonna run right up past the force
fields. He's a brave man.
fields.
Colossus very low, but it's gonna be able to survive in the back. He loses a lot of his forces trying to pick that up, and suddenly that 20 supply lead that you talked about earlier is completely gone.
It's been chopped down a little bit. Still liking the damage though. The tank's going to work on the left side of those minerals. They get the gas. Vikings are being added over here. We're gonna have another push. TaeJa does have to be careful, because while he did not kill that Colossus, Nathaniel's pointed out that it was at low health but not dead. There's a lot of AoE up there. still, Sand, just on 2 bases. We saw the 3rd orbital being completed in the background of this. Sand needs to do damage. He's going to do it now. He pushes down. The Vikings in a good chasm right there. They target down the weaker Colossus, now going to work on the secondary Colossus.
I mean, the tanks and the Marauders like wreck the Stalkers that blink down, but still, one Colossus does survive this. Puts an overcharge. Not sure how much time is left on that bad boy, but he's going to pick off all the Colossi, and then the Bio, once again, becomes really difficult to kill, even with this Nexus cannon, because he's got medevac healing.
This is being reinforced. TaeJa might just actually win right here. The last Oracle standing is going to push back a few more.
The next Colossus is half a minute away, and TaeJa's next rally of forces is here.
Yeah, he's
Plus 2 armor does finish up. TaeJa, with only 1/1 upgrades, is going to find himself having a much more difficult time handling those the Zealot forces that get warped. And I don't believe there's a charge upgrade, though, so they're not going to be too scary.
So adorable. I love commentating with a Terran player. You guys hate on Terran so hard the whole time.
Those Zealot
only
upgrades.
1/1 upgrades.
Those Zealot upgrades, man.
There's no upgrades for the Protoss.
He's got +2 armor.
Well, I mean, you know, big deal.
Thanks, Jeff.
I've been struggling with my core this whole time.
Well,
no,
the Observer sees this force coming up once again to this position. He does have, you know, that Colossus. He's worked in quite a few gateway units. Almost enough energy for another Nexus cannon as well. So he's pretty reasonably well set up to defend this, but TaeJa's 3rd base is going to allow him to take a massive lead in the next few minutes.
No 3rd Nexus is even being queued up. The upgrades that I apparently completely missed are actually not continuing. There's no even +1 attack upgrade. So yes, you know, the 2nd upgrade attack for TaeJa has been queued up. What I like about TaeJa is he's kind of he's been doing this for years. So I was about to say he's borrowing this from Flash, but of course he's not doing that. He's just doing something that Flash does a really good job of, and that's being out on the map and just aggroing the Protoss. And Sand knows he can't just take a 3rd, so he's going to push across, but there's no pylons. There's no real X factor here. He had his Colossus count reset. If he's at like 5 Colossus, I'm about to talk about Sand winning, but he's not.
No, and he pops the Guardian Shield. The Vikings pick off 1 Colossus. Time warps the Bio army, but there's really not that many Zealots, and without charge, they can't close in on the forces anyway. So pushing him back, and I like that these Vikings are positioning themselves ready to catch these units retreating to that natural, because this position, it's like, yeah, you're retreating your Colossus, but it's so wide open, it's super easy for TaeJa to spread out and just kill all of this. The splash damage from the Colossus is almost useless at this point.
It is almost useless. More Zealots coming in there. Keep in mind they have a 2 armor upgrade, but they're pushing in and still getting mowed down in droves. Kappa, Kappa, Kappa. It looks like TaeJa's going to take this one off the back of rock-solid defensive opening play.